And Sting has Marina Shafir. He's kidnapping her. What's old is new again. Or in the case of that main event, what's old is really, really anciently old. Never did I think I would see the day where Sting would look older than the third wife of the late great Lou Thez. It's showtime! Woo! Oh, my hip! Oh, my hips! Hip stinger splash! It's a scorpion death drop! And if Sting actually tried to hit one of those, it may have been a literal death drop. I know you young people think that we aren't any fun anymore, but it's showtime! Is that good enough for you right there? Tony, send me my check! I'm John Renton with my review of AEW WrestleDream 2025 from St. Louis, Missouri. Man, Sam Muchnick would have rose from his grave and said, Tony Khan, what the fuck are you doing? This pay-per-view had moments that I really liked that I will talk about. And I know he wants to give people their money's worth. I get it, especially since they charge between $40 and $50 in the US for pay-per-views. If you're watching on Max, you get it for $40. If you're watching on Amazon, you get it for $50. And I get it. But they could have cut 5 to 7 minutes off of some of these matches, and we would have been way out the door earlier. So, they did have a pretty sizable crowd there, around 6,300 to 6,500 people. And look, I was at the last two WrestleDreams. I was there in Seattle when Adam Copeland made his debut, and I was there last year in the Tacoma Dome when the air was sucked out of the goddamn room when, yes, Bryan Danielson retired, Jon Moxley beat him. That wasn't the problem. That just began the long, arduous 5-year tour of the Death Riders. Yeah, I know it's only been just over a year, but it feels like 5. And unfortunately, it's not going to end. It's not going to end till Blood and Guts. It's going to be dueling Blood and Guts matches. But anyway, let's just get to the tailgate brawl because I got a lot to talk about. And there are certain things I'm just going to gloss over. Shivani, Matt Menard, and Nigel on commentary. Menard is one of the worst commentators ever. Fucking ever. This guy is terrible. I don't care if they like him. He's a terrible commentator. So they start off with the Darby and Mox package, and then we get Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Tomohiro Ishii. Against Death Rider members Claudio, Pac, Yuta, and Garcia. Yeah. There's the Garcia dance and everything. It's not, oh, hey, Macarena, hi. It's not that. I was going to do that for an intro, but after that bullshit main event and a couple other things I didn't like, this show doesn't deserve that particular, little bit of my musical lyricism that I do not actually possess. All right, Menard's rotten on commentary and Pac pinned Ishii. You expect me to give this match any sizable amount of time? It went way over time, and I guess the idea was they wanted to start the pay-per-view hot, but this was just an extended Dynamite or Collision match. You gotta be kidding me is what I wrote down. And I said, abolish ICE. If you support ICE, fuck you and fuck your goddamn other, people in your life that support. God, you fucking assholes. It is not about it's not about getting, bad illegal immigrants out of here. It's about racism. That's what it's always been about. And that's what you guys will always be about. And anybody that joins ICE, they're bigoted cowards. They couldn't cut it in an actual real job, so they took the job, doing the bidding of a goddamn bigoted wannabe dictator that's a melting blob of gelatin. So anyway, Eddie Kingston and Hook beat Griff Garrison and Cole Carter of the Frat House with some other roided up, I don't know what the fuck he was there. The Frat House is something that Jim Herd would have come up with. Hook choked out, I think he choked out Cole. Oh boy, the Costco guys are on screen, and then Rocky Romero and Trent beat him up. Trent has one arm, and he was able to beat up a guy. Okay, why did the woman in the jean shorts just take the kid over there? Is that a genuine question? Is that a family friend? Was she worried that the kid was in a bar among alcoholic beverages? This establishment should be shut down. They'll be at Full Gear. Oh joy, oh bliss. So anyway, Megan Bain dresses up as Poison Ivy and Penelope dresses up as Harley Quinn. That Hammer is a better worker than Penelope Ford. Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron have matching gear, which leads me to believe that Willow Nightingale will not sniff singles gold till at least Revolution, if not sometime next fall. Because Tony Khan just will not relent on one particular project. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. I'm starting to think that Megan is about as good as she's ever going to get, and Penelope just is not good. Willow's over. Harley's over. Willow won with the doctor's bomb. They keep showing detergent ads, probably indicating that some fans at these events need to learn to wash their clothes and their asses. And look, if you're not going to wear deodorant and you are at a goddamn wrestling event, you deserve to be shamed. Publicly shamed until you basically go and shove yourself in a garbage can where you belong, except that's an insult to garbage cans. If you don't wash before you go to a wrestling event, if you don't carry deodorant with you in your car, you got problems. So anyway, FTR with a child, I'm sorry, that's Stokely, same difference, against Jet Speed. And they didn't have a whole lot of, time left, and there were also weird sounds. I thought it might have just been my feed or my TV, but no, other people were hearing it. Fuck You Speedball was looking at the goddamn screen. The match basically went into the pay-per-view feed. And they launched the pyro like it's the second hour of Nitro, and Larry Zbyszko was going to say New World Order. I mean, it's different. I'll give them that much. It's not just doing it on TV. They run right into the goddamn pay-per-view. Whatever, the whole streaming thing, they can do that. The crowd was up for this. I will give them that much credit. And the match wasn't that bad. Ultima Weapon, by the way, they are matter, they are antimatter, and they will end up destroying. Well, actually, Ultima Weapon is pretty easy to beat in Final Fantasy 3/6. That's right, video game nerd right here of days gone by. There was a botched 3 count where Jet Speed clearly won. Good job, referee. Stokely ended up holding the feet down to get the victory. Not a bad match, more of a TV match, and that's why it bled from the pre-show into this, but it was what it was. The crowd was into it. Not the worst start. Shivani then introduced Charlie Thez, the third wife of the late great Lou Thez. I don't know how old she was when she married him. He was born in 1916 and died in 2002. So I believe he was 88 when he passed away. I think 86. He was 86. Sorry, math was a little bit off. Hard to believe that Lou Thez, for all the years that he wrestled, actually lived into the 2000s. That's kind of a goddamn miracle. And you know what? Good on her. She seemed to enjoy being there. She was there for the women's match, which, as somebody pointed out on Twitter, is ironic given how Lou Thez felt about wrestling on cards with women wrestlers. Google it, kids. There's probably some great Lou Thez articles out there. But Shivani interviewing Charlie Thez, and she seemed happy to be there. But my God, when she was in school, Sam Muchnick hadn't even gotten out of his crib yet. Her high school diploma had to be chiseled on a stone tablet. Lincoln asked her if she could help with, 7 years ago and all that. And basically, essentially, Zoe introduced Charlie to Lou Thez. So I could go on here. I won't, though. Jamie Hayter versus Thekla, whatever, while Excalibur keeps talking about, embracing tradition. He says it about 12 million times in 5 minutes. So everyone is banned from ringside, yet the fans were there, so all the fans should have been disqualified. I'll give them credit. They at least laid their shit in and did some good stuff here. They tried to make this as much of a grudge match as they could. Thekla was all about bashing. I don't know how you say her goddamn name. I'm sorry if I get it wrong. But she heals it up. She targets Jamie's, previously injured shoulder, targets her back and everything. This was good, is what I point out. And the spider walk, some good stuff here. She did some good stuff, using her core strength, bending back upwards. Never mind. And just doing, some pretty athletically impressive stuff. And Hayter was right there for everything. Hayter shockingly won with the Haterade. I didn't expect that. I expected Thekla to actually win. Queen Aminata shows up to congratulate Jamie Hayter. I actually thought she was going to attack her. And Sky and Julia are just standing there on the stage, looking either disappointed or like they are waiting for a bus. I'm not sure. So, we then get an expenses report of the Bucks' spending, and now they are at the $32.17 bucks. If the Bucks actually were ever funny, this might actually work for me. Yes, the crowd is getting to lay into them. The thing is, they're in on the joke. We know they're actually getting paid just the same. I'm sorry. This just isn't good. It's not. Because here's the thing. They lost the EVP status, right? Swerve has been out since, Forbidden Door? He's been out since August. I actually forgot what fucking pay-per-view it was. I think it was Forbidden Door. He's been out since then. And Ospreay is out for a while, and Swerve will probably return in time for maybe Blood and Guts, because I think he got some kind of knee scoping or whatever it was, and he should be back soon. Great. My thing is where they're going to slot these people. The thing about the Bucks is they do the same shit. So they can't afford anything, but they can afford a whole bunch of this fake tanning. They faced off against Jurassic Express. Whoa. And it's a $500,000 match. Referee Rick Knox. So nothing actually gets done. According to Lucha Blog on Twitter, there were EBT chants. Oh, you have no money. Ironic that Missouri, which is very low in education, would be mentioning that. I'm not talking about the crowd. I'm definitely talking about some parts of Missouri. So, they just did their normal shit. Was this the most egregious Bucks match I've seen? No. Did I like it as much as what they did with Ospreay and Swerve? No. A Destroyer on the apron, and then a chicken jockey fight, because we need to remind everybody that the Minecraft movie exists, and I know it made $1 billion, whatever. The movie fucking sucked. And to those that were partying in the damn theater and also getting chickens and throwing them around and abandoning those chickens when chickens are actually good pets, if you know what the hell you're doing, and all the people that were just being general assholes, the theater workers, y'all deserve the worst holiday season, just so you know. And then they do the Fear Factor, harkening back to when they faced the Lucha Bros. When people actually somewhat cared about the Bucks about 4 years ago. And then the Trigger, but it got broken up, and then a Doomsday for 2. They had it right there. If they had done it right there with the Doomsday device, they had it. But the Bucks they just can't leave well enough alone. Luchasaurus needs to be led around, and Jack Perry is a blithering idiot. So, they kept going, more move spamming, and then, Countdown to Extinction got the victory about 5 minutes after it should have happened. Maybe it was less than 5 minutes, but it felt like at least 5. So, then the Callis family suddenly jumps to Jurassic Express. Easy for me to say. Archer, I believe Alexander, and Romero maybe, I don't know. Wait, Mark Davis, that's who, I don't care. Too many people in that group. It's the Who World Order, as somebody said. And then here's Kenny Omega. He says, Bucks, aren't you going to help? Nope. Okay, I'll go help. Me with my, guts hanging out. And he attacks the 3 heels. And then Jurassic Express miraculously come back and everything's fine. And then Kenny also gets an Inoki Forever sign and the towel thing that they hand out. I was there when Tony Khan did the Inoki chant at both WrestleDreams, but especially at the Tacoma Dome one. We could hear him, everybody in the bathroom. Everybody that was in the bathroom, coming out of the bathroom, going in the bathroom was making fun of him. We were laughing. We were nearly slipping in the bathroom from laughing so goddamn hard because he's a goof. That being said, that wasn't a terrible match, but whatever. It was 5 minutes longer than it needed to be, but at least it wasn't like 30. The Hurt Syndicate, they hurt people, taking on the on-demand service of Bishop Khan, as well as Ricochet and Toa Leona. It's a trios tornado tag and the number 1 contenders match for whoever wins basically gets a trios title shot. Good obvious spot calling numerous times. Like, Jesus Christ, Hal 9000 wouldn't have even been needed to see those lips move. The crowd was burned out. There was a table spot where they threw, I think, Lashley onto Shelton or Shelton onto Lashley. But the thing is, the crowd was burned the fuck out. It was fine for what it was. Shelton and Lashley basically lay out Khan because Khan fires up and then gets laid out with a spear. I didn't hate the match, but it was more of a TV match. This feud has not been great. This feud hasn't been awful, but it hasn't been great. Mark Briscoe took on Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship. Don Callis joins commentary. Look, let me say right now, this is probably the best work match I've seen in a while. Did they do a little too much? Sure. Did it go a little too long? Sure. Was it worth it? Yeah. Except for Callis on commentary, because I'm sorry, Don Callis offers nothing to this program. Nothing to this promotion. They mentioned Dustin Rhodes. Hey, by the way, Dustin is really proud of the fact that he voted for the criminal piece of shit that's in the White House. And he has double knee replacement surgery because he couldn't take care of his own goddamn body and is lucky that he has somebody who is a glorified money mark to pay him while he has that double knee replacement. Because otherwise, he probably wouldn't have that many people to support him. Like, his kid who happens to be trans, and he voted for that piece of shit. So yeah, fuck Dustin Rhodes, fuck the fact that he thinks that he should speak for this country. And no, I don't really fucking care if he is seen as a redemption story. He's lucky he got clean when he did because everybody else was ready to give up on him. And I know that probably sounds really goddamn harsh. I don't care. He deserves to be humiliated and degraded and basically just lambasted till the end of fucking time. So that being said, Mark Briscoe is way over. They kept doing everything, but they at least kept it moving, and they allowed enough. There was a little too much no selling, but there was also just on the opposite side enough selling to where at least, okay, you could kind of justify the means, the means justifying the end is what I mean. Mean gaze for Kyle's sign, that was pretty funny. There was good back and forth. Like, there was some, good action here. We got a brainbuster for 2. I was a bit shocked by that. We had a last ride for 2. We got a superplex by Kyle. That was a big goddamn deal. And then a J Driller on the apron. Instead of just throwing him right back in the goddamn ring, he took about 8 years. Froggy Bow on the ropes. Froggy Bow in the ring. 1, 2, kick out. More moves. Some no selling. J Driller, I did like this spot. 1, 2, finger on the rope. That was good. I could tell right where he was, how he was either going to get his hand or his finger on the rope. It's either going to, give the rope a hand, handy you know what, or he was going to finger it violently. So, the referee ends up out of position. We get a low blow and a brainbuster for 2. I was a bit surprised by that. We go, are they actually going to give it to Mark Briscoe? No. He did end up hitting a brainbuster off the top of the buckle, or on the top buckle, 1, 2, 3, which I was a bit surprised that they went that. I don't really think they need to have it being kicked, or have everything being kicked out of, otherwise it gets old and stale. And then L. Colon shows up, and I know what he's called. I don't care. It's a stupid gimmick. And he celebrates with Kyle. And then the conglomeration faces, including Orange Cassidy, I believe Willow also, check on Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe should win the Continental Classic, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Have him do that because at least it means something. Timeless Tony Storm is apparently a version of Carmen Sandiego mixed with the White Spy from I Spy. We get a package on that. And then they do a package on Statlander that seemingly implies that we're going back to the alien thing. Please don't. That was stupid. That was really stupid. But Timeless Tony Storm against Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship. Which makes sense. Calling it the AEW Men's Championship doesn't, but whatever. It's fine. So, Tony was having some doubts about herself. Tony also was apparently a mime with rubber gloves. It starts slow as you would expect, because you wouldn't expect them to go 100 miles an hour, and they had to kind of slow things down. Statlander was feeling it. That's not a euphemism. And there was an outside in, rolling senton, but, kind of like how Eddie did it, except Statlander didn't do it like Eddie, landed flush on Storm. And Tony's doubt was costing her. She was like, wondering, do I still have it? We got a split crowd here. There was some good moves here. A 450 for 2. She got the seatbelt. dear God, she's going back to that shit. Saturday Night Fever, then a leg vice. Why can't that be me with a certain woman? I'll let you decide who that is. I actually don't have anybody in mind. It's just for fun. And basically, Tony ends up finally saying, just fucking kill me or just kill me. Why don't you just kill me? I know who killed me. Dear God, I never want to revisit that movie again. So, she got laid out 1, 2, 3 with the fever and a hug afterwards. And then Statlander is interrupted by Mercedes, who has the frat house with her to carry all her belts. Because one time wasn't bad enough, let's have these goofs out here again. I don't care if they're nice. This is a stupid gimmick. Especially for whichever member of that, of the group it was, who made fun of the Texas Strong thing, or not, was it Uvalde Strong or something like that? It was about, I believe, that shooting, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so that person can kick rocks, but then again, it probably was the roided up guy, so that's probably why. Anyway, Mercedes. Then, they call her Mercedes Ultimo Monet. She wishes she was fucking Ultimo Dragon. And she starts cutting a promo, and I said, no. I'm not listening. She did have a great... I did see the match that she had with Persephone. I was furnished a link. And I saw it, and it was a really good match. It's just, I have made my opinions on Mercedes very clear. It was nice that she had a song by Selena as her theme. That was a nice tribute, since Selena should still be here and succeeding, while J-Lo should be the backup dancer, which is all the talent that she has. But I digress. Mercedes, however, is insufferable. And I don't mean as a character. I mean, I don't want to see her at all. Are the matches good? Sure, some of the matches are great. This has not benefited the women's division at all. It's not a final boss thing, because anybody, you can get women out of the crowd that are bigger than her. Mercedes is offering an open challenge, champion versus champion. It's Mina Shirakawa, the interim Ring of Honor women's TV champion. As much as I love Mina Shirakawa, they would have been better off having it be Nyla Rose, who's apparently a champion of an all-women's promotion in the UK. I had a friend of mine in Texas tell me that. There had to be a morning after. There had to be a better way to do this. Here's what I gotta say. No. Nothing against Shirakawa. No one cared. This went 16 minutes and it should have gone 9. Mercedes won with a roll-up even after trying to cheat and getting caught and used the ropes. And then Statlander came back down and laid her out, because they were implying that, Mercedes might have, goaded Statlander into a match. And do not, for the love of God, give Statlander to Mercedes. Do not have that match again at Full Gear. Because if they give the women's title to Mercedes, I'm saying this right now, they give the women's title to Mercedes, you might as well just send the women's division home until Revolution. Send them out elsewhere, pay him Tony, and just have Mercedes appear and just do stuff. Or send her home and actually have the women's division just compete over nothing, because you just don't care about your goddamn belts. The TBS title has never meant less. I don't care if she has every title from every goddamn country. I don't give a shit because I don't watch those promotions. But if she wins the women's world title, it's over. It's fucking over. Because this dumb, undeserving twat doesn't deserve it. Which, undeserving, doesn't deserve it. That was kind of a double negative, but nevertheless, she does not deserve this. And if you don't stop doing that stupid goddamn dance, Mercedes, hopefully somebody pounces her and knocks it out of her. Maybe knocks a personality into her. Grab her by her weave and take the source of her power next. So, Bandito, and Brody King took on Takeshita and Okada for the Tag Team Championships. Look, this was better than the Bucks Jurassic Express match. This is better than Jet Speed versus FTR. I still have my issues because Okada uncorked a few moves, but I have to say I'm really sick of how lazy he is. And I know that he can't be the 5-star Okada from Japan, but it's lazy. They love the faces. They love Takeshita. They were waiting for Takeshita to finally snap on Okada or something to happen. They targeted Bandito's, busted shoulder. Okada let Takeshita basically take all the bumps because Okada will be damned if he takes any. Callis is on commentary again. Brody got the hot tag, and it seemed like they were going to the finish, and then they just kept going for a while. A good while. You don't need matches to go 20 goddamn minutes, Tony, when about 12 will do you good. It kept going, a stiff double stump. I was really worried Okada was just going to spill his guts literally there. And then we got Takeshita, did some good stuff here. He got, Brody in that lift German that he does. Brody then hit a triple German where Bandito nearly got dropped on every goddamn, bit other than, his fucking back. He almost got dropped on his shoulder, on his head. He almost got his goddamn dick, slammed right in his goddamn face. Like how he got folded up. And then Okada goes for the Rainmaker and accidentally hits Takeshita and is smiling because he did the finger thing earlier. The middle finger thing. And then kept doing it. And so Takeshita just basically let him get beat. He tried for the 21 plex. That didn't work because the shoulder gave out. And then Brody basically told Bandito, never stop fighting. He hits the 21 plex with one arm, which really, boy, that was dangerous. I mean, I know he was selling. I assume he's selling. 1, 2, 3. And then they do the Macarena. Hi. Yeah, that's all you're going to fucking get. All right. Tony and Mina have nothing except each other. Can we see that? More of that, please. Hangman and Samoa Joe had a world title match. It was actually well wrestled, and had I not been completely drained by matches that went way longer than necessary, because this, with the pre-show, by this point, the main card was 4.5 hours. That's inexcusable. Joe basically should have won, but he wasn't going to win. I knew he wasn't going to win. The camera completely missed Hangman rolling through on a moonsault outside. They did some good stuff here. There was some good work. Come on, you motherfucker. Hangman's firing up and everything, trying to get, Joe to basically take him down. And Joe did some good stuff, but it was kind of sudden. We have a couple buckshots and 1, 2, 3, and Hangman won. And then Shibata and his new brain and Hobbs show up, and Joe hugs him, and it's great. And then they suddenly attack him. The OPPs attack Hangman. See, Shibata's new brain caused him to turn heel. So yeah, there you go. That's pretty much it right there. Oh, wait. We just basically get a muscle buster on the belt. So I assume we're getting a rematch at some point, possibly at Full Gear. I don't know if they're going to extend it that far, but we'll see. All right. So basically, the main event, it felt like the main event went about an hour. And I think with entrances, with Moxley's entrance, with Shafir, because again, we had to have undeserving people in spots that they don't, they're not qualified for, and they will never be qualified for. Moxley's entrance and Darby's entrance, it basically essentially took 5 minutes. And it's Darby versus Moxley in an I Quit match, and I would guess how I felt about this. Here's the thing, it wasn't as egregious as I had expected it to be, because they built it up to the point where you were half expecting somebody to be disemboweled, which, given some of the participants that actually weren't participants in this match, but participated in stuff in this match, they probably should have been. It's Moxley and Darby in an I Quit match. I said I am not responsible for what I say and what I will basically say. I don't want to see Darby ever in the main event scene after stuff like this. I don't want to see Moxley anymore. I don't want to see Shafir, except in little short videos from the Defy promotion that is in Seattle. I don't want to see Yuta and Garcia in anything except potentially Traction for what they have done to professional wrestling. Pac, doesn't mean anything because he's one stupid spot away from getting injured and being off TV for another 6 months. Claudio is absolutely meaningless, and Jon Moxley is the worst main event wrestler they've had, not named Chris Jericho, of the last year and a half, essentially. This is the worst AEW main event that they have put on this year. I mean, maybe not as bad as Anarch Queef in the arena, but the fact is this Death Rider stuff is poison and has gone on way too long and is going to go till Blood and Guts. Somebody pointed this out to me, and I actually will be watching Dynamite live, I think. I don't think there's a secret special screen of anything that I'm going to go watch this Wednesday. And because of a work schedule change, I will be watching this week. But even if they kick Moxley out, even if they do this, and I'll get back to the match here in a minute, it's not going to matter because this stuff hasn't meant anything. Nobody's going to cheer Moxley. Nobody's going to cheer anybody in this group except the small vocal minority that seems to think they're going to rebel against the system, rebel against the fact that every time the Death Riders appear, the audience energy goes completely down. They're like, it's not even booing, we want to see them get beat up. It's like, oh, again with these idiots. These stupid fucking idiots. Darby is bleeding from a few chain shots. And then Shafir interferes again because this dumb broad can't be put in her place. And I don't care how that sounds. She looks confused whenever she's out there. She's not intimidating. Almost anybody in that goddamn audience, as far as women, could have at least squared up to her. She is a legit MMA trained fighter. But she's not a fucking wrestler, and you just have to show her a shiny object, and she'll be distracted. Just go do the indies and go home and, take care of your goddamn kids, because you can't take care of anything in the goddamn ring. And Wheeler Yuta, you can't even do run-ins right. You stupid dweeb. You long-haired motherfucking moron. Why are you here? Oh, Brian likes him. Brian's an idiot. And Garcia is the biggest waste of money that they have had. As far as somebody they have tried to feature Yuta and Garcia. It has never worked. It will never work. And the sooner Khan puts his foot down. So anyway, how does this benefit wrestling is what I kept writing down. And then Darby gets lighter fluid out. And that kind of lighter fluid, by the way, dries up really fucking quick. Like, example, if you're going to burn branches and stuff like that, you need to squirt a bunch of that. You need to start that fire. It's always been burning since the world's been turning. Or otherwise, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything lit. It's not going to be lit AF, as the kids used to say. And then he gets a taser. And then Shafir interferes. Interferes, as it were. I have an Shafir infection, and it's Marina Shafir trying to exist on a program she doesn't belong on. And then Darby doesn't have any friends. That's what I noted here. He doesn't have any friends. I mean, I'll get to it in a minute, but Jesus Christ. I mean, I didn't expect Danielson. I actually expected Danielson to show up, but I'm kind of glad he didn't. Because I don't want to see him in the ring anymore. Because if he's going to push for Yuta, if he's going to push for Garcia, I don't want to even hear that motherfucker on commentary. Because clearly he's a bad representation of where wrestling's going. Claudio press slams Darby onto the announcer's table. Because Darby's an idiot and will take any bumps. And then a table DDT, and the crowd's chanting, "You can't kill him." I think that's what they were chanting. And then they get an aquarium, a fish aquarium, and put water in it. And I'm thinking, are they actually going to try to get piranhas and imply that piranhas are attacking him? I actually thought they were going to do that. No, they just tried to drown him. And this is stupid and terrible. And then the lights go out. For a really long time, there is a reason for that. Because Grandpa Borden, Sting himself, that looked like it stung every time he tried to walk. Gray hair, gray beard, because he retired at Revolution last year. And has only made, I think, one other appearance. He appeared at All In 2024. And other than that, I think he said this is the last year he's going to wear any face paint and do any stuff with the Sting gimmick. Because the man has more money than he knows what to do with. He's 65, 66 years old. He doesn't need to be doing this anymore. he attacks Moxley, hits a few bat shots. Nobody takes any good bumps for him, and Sting, God forbid, if he tried to take a bump, he turned to powder. But really, they could have brought, Charlie Thez out, and she probably would have been as convincing as Sting at this point. And the crowd was going nuts for Sting, and I love Sting. He's one of my favorites of all time. But no. And then he gives Darby the bat. And then Moxley's trying to do the badass thing and, get the, do the point in the bat. Come on, do it. No! And then he gets hit with the bat. And he gets hit with the bat again. And then suddenly Shafir squares up to Sting. As if Shafir, on her worst, or on her best day, could be what Sting is on his, worst day. Or when Sting's dead. Sting could be dead and in the ground. And he still means more to professional wrestling and life than Shafir ever will. And that may be mean, I don't care. If you're a Shafir fan, all 5 of you that happen to exist in this world, I don't care. But he takes her away. He's kidnapping her. And then we get bat shots. And by the way, there's water in the ring because Sting also broke the aquarium. So there's just a pool of water in the goddamn ring and broken glass. And then the Scorpion Deathlock and Moxley quits. I mean, whatever. Look, nobody got set on fire. No egregious amount of insane blood. There were no tacks. My thing is this is fairly tame, which wasn't bad. But you cannot tell me that this benefited professional wrestling. This was a 5.5-hour show. A 5.5-hour show that really should have only been 4.5. You trim 5 to 7 minutes off of 5 of those matches, and you're doing better. You take the TBS Open Challenge and just put it on the goddamn next Dynamite, and there you are. And I'm not advocating for less women's matches on the show. I'm just saying that happened to be the most unnecessary one. The Syndicate versus the goddamn the Hurt Syndicate versus On Demand, and I know they're called The Demand, but work with me here. Could have been on Dynamite. There are just some times where you don't need certain matches to go so long or even be on pay-per-view, Tony. That means that WrestleDream has moments. But it also had stuff that really pissed me the fuck off. So, big changes need to happen by World's End. And even if they do, I'm really thinking that may be the end of my full-time reviewing of wrestling. Because good God, y'all. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for WrestleDream. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentland, and until we see a pay-per-view that hopefully ends way sooner than this one, happy trails to you.